Today is Friday, January the 19th, 2024, and welcome to episode 79 of Reliance with Canny Couple. I'm Juliet.
And I'm Aaron.
We're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day on being more self-reliant, less dependent on outside sources, merging homesteading and frugality.
Yeah. And, today is how, how it comes about between the two if you do it right.
Yes, so today we're going to talk about how our frugal lifestyle brought about big changes to our homestead and how they're going to lead to bigger changes on our homestead in the future.
Yeah.
So 2024 is completely different for us compared to any other year in our world together. It really is. I have always been in the workforce.
Yes. Yeah.
And this year we decided to make the change to have me be a full-time at home to take care of the baby, take care of the homestead, the house, and all of that, and to help kind of create extra time for us to push us forward in our goals. So we created freedom. We talk about homesteading as building options all the time. And for us, one of our really big goals for 2023 was to get debt free, so we would have other options.
Right. And that's why we were pushing this hard, for this reason.
To create options.
Yes.
So we knew something had to change last year. We just didn't know what. And we were pushing because we knew once we got 100% debt free, because having both of us working at the same time, we were able to push so much harder, so much faster. We were able to throw as much money as possible at our debt. That's the reason we didn't make any changes for either one of us until then, because it would push our goals back even further. So for us, it just made the most amount of sense. I could have never have made this change if we would have had debt.
No.
And he couldn't have either. It would have just made us so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and we probably wouldn't even thought about it at that point, because we would have been like, okay, maybe we cut somebody back, or, go to part-time or something like that. It might have been an option, but we definitely couldn't. One of us stopped working at that point.
Yeah, so that's the reason we were actually able to make this change. And we discussed every other option that we thought possible. One of us working part-time, the other one working full-time. We also discussed Aaron being the one to stay home. So we went through everything, pros and cons, list galore, and I was the best option.
Yeah.
So how did we get here? I would say one of the biggest things that we did was our frugal lifestyle.
If we hadn't buckled down from a frugality standpoint like we have, we could have never gotten to this point to begin with.
We buckled down, but I don't think we ever felt deprived.
No, definitely not.
We still went out to eat. We still did things that we wanted to do. We didn't vacation, but we didn't have time.
that was true.
We didn't have time to vacation. If we had time off,
we spent it doing projects on the homestead.
We spent it just maintaining and trying to get things done on the homestead. Yeah. That's all we did. We didn't have time.
We would have a running list of things to do on our week off that we would take off, weeks off that we would take off, and it was trying to knock all that stuff out within a week. So we would go back to work more tired than
we would go back to work to get a vacation from our vacation. So we've always lived so far below our means that people would be like, they would think we didn't make the money that we made, or even the money that we make now. They would just look at us like we're crazy because we are so careful with our money. I've actually been asked if we're okay. Are you okay? Okay. No, we don't need money. We're fine. We're doing what we need to live the lifestyle that we want to live. And frugality has played a big part in this. We're not deprived. You can do it.
Yes.
We are proof you can do it. You can live below your means. There is this misconception among our age group and I feel like social media is pushing this so hard to make you feel like You deserve more. You need more to actually be able to live a normal life.
And multiple debt and credit card debt's perfectly fine. No.
It was actually said in one of the conversations, you have one of those low interest rates, you could never move again. And I was like, but just pay it off.
Right.
Why don't just pay it off? Like, they're like, you're stuck there forever. Pay it off.
Yeah, I even saw somebody on X, Twitter, there was saying, which would you rather have is a, debt-free and $10,000 or, a house mortgage at so much percent and money able to invest into other stuff. And 90% of the people were like, I want that mortgage.
The low interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
The low interest rate. And for us, we decided we didn't want anything like that. No. We wanted to be 100% debt free because it would help us push forward to our goals. We have a goal, early retirement. We have the goal of having a sustainable homestead. We have the goals of side hustles that bring in assets as well. So we have a lot of goals, and we knew that the pace we were going the past few years, it was not going to happen.
Yeah, we were going too slow of a pace.
We were, because we couldn't maintain. I couldn't keep up with my basic day-to-day with everything else that we had going on. It was just impossible. Losing our income, one income, and I made a really good income. Doesn't affect our budget, not that much.
No.
Doesn't affect us. We talked about our goal a couple weeks ago of saving 50 to 60% of our take-home income. Mm-hmm. That is 100% doable for us with our current lifestyle. So you can do it. You absolutely can. You just have to buckle down, and you have to understand your desires, your needs. You've got to balance.
Yep.
It's a balancing act. You can't have everything you want right now. It's spending $200 on a Stanley Cup right now. If you're paying
$200 might be on the low side.
If you're paying $600 a month in a student loan payment, might not be a good idea. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
These status symbols that people are going crazy for, that people crave, I feel like that's one of the reasons people are staying in debt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's insane. It is insane. We have some Stanleys too, but I highly doubt they're going to sell for $200.
The old green ones,
Oh, Lordy sakes. So we're not going to experience a change on our lifestyle and on our day to day. We're going to buckle down more because I actually want to see us save more.
Yeah.
I want to see us save as much as absolutely possible. But I feel like for the most part, we're going to do just fine. Yep. We're going to be just fine. Budgeting. That's like one of the big key things here.
And for us, you've heard us talk about budgeting a lot before, but we are buckling down even more into our budgeting. We created some new spreadsheets based off of it, tracking some new things, some new ways, stuff like that to even, get more down to the nitty gritty.
Aaron's making it so one of the things we are doing this year is we are having a set weekly household meeting.
Yep.
And right now it's just me and Aaron. When Isabel gets old enough, she's part of that meeting too.
Well, she sort of sits there and hollers.
She just sits there in the hall and hollers, letting us know she's there and plays. But we have a weekly budget meeting. We're looking at the budget. We're looking at the numbers, what we have spent, what we haven't. We find when we do this, we spend a lot less.
Yes.
Well, we know what those numbers look like because you're in it. You're in it. There is something to be said about knowing what is going in and going out. And a lot of people say cash. You'll spend less if you use cash only, and that is true. It's been statistically proven.
It has.
But for us, looking at those numbers,
the rewards from us.
Well, and the consistent looking, just checking that budget is what really keeps us on point. It really does. So budgeting for us, one of the big keys to get us to where we were.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, my notes went away. Led us to being debt free.
It did. I mean, if we hadn't budgeted, if we hadn't been so frugal, no way.
No way. You have to. You cannot live without knowing what you're spending, what you're not. And you're seeing more and more of this as people are struggling. Student loan payments are coming out. All of this stuff is happening. People are being hit hard. Inflation, although they say we're not really experiencing inflation, a lot of people are feeling it where they're going to feel it the hardest. That's the grocery stores.
And,
We know. We see it.
Well, if the prices are not changing, is the size changing? Are you getting less? We've seen a lot of the shrinkflation on stuff,
Pasta. Pasta is our big one. It would be the same price that we would have paid 2 to 3 years ago. Well, maybe a little bit more. But it would be 12 ounces and not 16. So I've told Aaron when I sent him, this is what you're looking for at 16 ounces.
Yep.
Do not bring home any 12 ounce boxes of pasta. This is important. And if I were to send anybody else to the grocery store, those would be my instructions. 16 ounces. Because you're paying more for less.
Yep.
So you kind of have to know what you're looking at. A lot of people don't look that way.
No, you got to pay attention to that type of stuff because you're like, oh, well, my meal didn't go as far this week, or this meal didn't go as far. Well, that's because you got less of what you bought.
Well, or you just go to the grocery store and get what you need, and you're not getting. I didn't realize that was a thing. I had no idea that was a thing. That people just went to the grocery store to get what they needed for their house. I go to the grocery store to get what's on sale because I already have what we need for the house. So I save as much money as possible and keep our grocery budget super low.
Yeah.
Which is why we're able to keep it, hopefully this year, our goal is to keep it at $3,600 throughout the entire year. I think I can do that. I think I can actually probably keep it lower.
Well, the way we're going right now, we're not going to be spending anything on grocery this week for the pantry challenge because we can't get out for the snow.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it is. We set a goal. That's the other thing we did to get here.
We did.
We wrote it down. We talked about it. This did not leave the back of our mind to get debt free because we knew being debt free would give us options.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would let us sleep at night. Because if we would have made any changes without being debt free, neither one of us would have slept.
No.
Not good.
No, it would have been a lot
stressful.
Yeah.
It would have been very stressful.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way we've done it really has worked well for us. And I know a lot of families can't do that. You've got a lot of kids. You need mom or dad at home. Totally get that. But for us, it really just made the most sense. And if mom or dad can do online work, side hustle work, to help push that needle forward, any little bit helps. Pennies make dollars, and those can go on your debts to pay it off. It really does help. You need, like everyone talks about, you don't make enough, you don't do enough. It all builds up. Small savings build up. We don't look at cutting our budget by big sweeping amounts. It's always the little amounts that we see the big difference. The little habits that we break. It's the little things that really do count. I mean, it really is. I can't express that enough. Just the small changes. Flipping off a light if you're not in the room.
Turn it off.
He's gotten so bad about this since they increased the electric. But I'm
they
coming
ain't actually
back
yet. So it actually starts next month. So as cold as it's been, it's gonna be awful next month.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, do you have anything else to add about how we were able to get here?
No, just it did take a lot of hard work, but dedication to it, making sure we stayed on track and hit goals certain ways.
So a lot of you might be like, well, Julia, if you'd kept working, you could have hit retirement much earlier. We could have, and we wouldn't have had a homestead.
Right.
Something would have had to give. There's not enough of me.
Yeah.
or Aaron, one of us had to change focus. We just didn't know who until a little bit ago. We discussed it, and I was the better option. So, how does this change our homestead in our future? Well, number one, kiddo, Isabel comes first.
Yep.
homeschooling, all of that, reading, really working with her every single day, and getting to spend more time with her. And I could tell you, in the week that this has happened, she was already so happy, but she is just
ecstatic. Yeah.
She's so ecstatic. She's so happy, so ecstatic, just so loving, so much more loving. It's just been great
even
for
to
her.
me.
Even to her. Like, oh, Daddy, I'll give you a kiss now. I won't push you away.
Well, 1 out of 3 times.
1 out of 3. He'll take it. It's more than once a week or once a month. Homestead. We can really start pushing now.
Yes, yeah. We can push hard on the homestead now. Push towards some of those goals, some of the things we're trying to do on the homestead.
More food preservation, because I can actually preserve food. Our schedule, we're not just looking at it at a day-to-day. We're also looking at it for the year. Because we know there's some months of the year I'm going to... August, September, I'm in the kitchen. Like, there's no extra work for me those weeks.
Yeah.
Because I have so much to get done, so much to can, so much to put away. Probably even before then with berry season. But those tend to be smaller projects I can get done in a day and be done in a Saturday or Friday.
Depends how good a crop we have on those, yeah.
Yeah, like we've had some blueberry crops that have been amazing. Last year was not so much.
Yeah, last year wasn't one of our better blueberry crops, or blackberry was... It was decent. It was decent. Not our best, and Logan and Boysen weren't good last year.
We had a late frost, but if we hadn't had the late frost, we would have been overrun with apricots.
That'd been nice.
It would have been so nice. So we have a tree. It is so full. It was so full. It had 2,000 blooms on it or more. It was so pretty. That frost hit nailed it.
Yeah.
So the homestead becomes one of my primary focuses. It has... I would say we work together on the homestead, but for the most part, the food production,
it is her.
It's been me.
Yeah.
The production, the preservation, and all that. The plans for the homestead, we work together. But most of the time, I'm the one sort of leading the charge. Here's what we need, or here's what I want, and here's what I think. I'm the one that kind of figures out how to get us there. And it works out really well for us. Am I perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? Yeah, lots. But we figured it out. And that's what's important. Side hustles. This is the big one.
We weren't able to get those going like we wanted to.
Nope.
And that's another reason that, we went this route, is for her to be able to start those up better.
Yeah. So one of them was already going. That's been my focus this week. And I've actually made a lot of really good progress.
That's the reselling one.
Yep. A lot of really good progress getting that push forward to where we can actually start doing what we need to do down there.
Getting us organized, getting us ready to start our routine on that project.
A lot of you might be thinking, well, why didn't you pick Aaron? One of my really good skill sets is I'm able to handle a lot of different tasks, different types of tasks at once. I can go from gardening to breakfast to house to reselling back to dinner. Much like the switch flipping. For Aaron,
I have to reset.
He has to reset. He is not as easy to flip that switch. And we needed my skill here because we need to push hard.
Yep.
Push as hard as we can. So side hustles, big priority. We're going to be bringing in more assets that way. And these aren't into our budget. This is pure
savings.
Pure savings.
Is what this is.
For future.
Yeah. And the goal this year with the reselling is $12,000.
Yep.
Cleared.
After taxes. So we think we can get there.
Yeah.
I mean, we absolutely think we can get there. We're, haven't sold a lot yet, but it is the middle of winter.
Right. And we don't have, like, the stuff we have listed right now. I mean,
It's
one sells it's been listed 2 years now. It's been 2 or 2.5 years maybe.
Probably.
Since we were pushing on it before, and everything sort of stopped at that point, or got too busy for us to be able to focus on it. And I mean, we were making great money there.
We were.
For a good period of time. But like the stuff we have up now, like, we need to reevaluate. Does the price need to be lowered? Do we even have right shipping choices now with all the shipping changes that's happened, from first class becoming ground advantage and stuff like that? I mean, it's stuff we have to reevaluate on.
Absolutely. So we're pushing on the side hustle. Our main focus right now is reselling, looking at the others later in the year. At least, if nothing else, setting up game plans, figuring out what that looks like going into 2025. But definitely the reselling, because it's the one we can do the quickest with the least startup cost. So, sets us up for future goals.
Yeah.
It really does. If we get the homestead running, self-sufficient, moving in the right direction, provides, 80% of our food. Can't provide rice. Wish you could, but I'm sorry. I've got a baby that eats rice, so we've got to have rice on our homestead.
I mean, there's some ways, but it requires a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's not worth it for the cost. That's one of the things I've really been looking at is it really is cost effective for me to do this versus just, buying. It's one of the things I really have to evaluate, like growing beans, dried beans. This is my last year trying this. We've been trying since we've started gardening, and I've never gotten a crop that is really substantial.
Right. It worth the amount
of work and effort and the cost of the beans.
Right. Yeah. I mean, right now, feels like we were just getting back, the amount dollar-wise that we put into it buying beans.
If that.
Yeah.
So if I don't see progress this year, I'm not growing beans again. Like, I'm sorry, Aaron. I'm just...
nothing to complain about.
But, that's why we're kind of looking at every single thing that we do, every project. Is it really worth the amount of time, effort, and energy we have to put into it? Because we want to see an ROI. We want to see our return.
On investment,
Yep.
And, with beans, no, it ain't been so far.
It has not. So that's the future goal. Future goal, retiring early. It's always been a goal for us. How do we get there? We save as much as possible, not sacrificing our life. We push, we build other income streams.
Not one.
Multiple.
Because if one fails, something gets put in regulation-wise, something just isn't the thing anymore, then you switch focus to another one.
Yep. Absolutely. So you don't want all your ducks in one basket.
Yeah.
You just don't. It doesn't work that way. But that's the reason that we made this change and what our future kind of looks like. Isabel's primary focus, getting her where she needs to be, but with all of that, I can still help push our homestead pretty far along.
Yes, and I can say the evenings have been relaxing this week.
They have.
It hasn't been...
I gotta go to this project and this project and this project like it has been.
Yep.
It's been different.
It's been nice.
It has, and I've been working hard during the day.
Yeah, she's been tired.
I've been working really hard because there's a lot of stuff that I needed to work on.
And stuff we found from where we put up from the house remodel. I found more clothes. I found more kitchen stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, not more.
And I bring it up. The baby's taking a nap. I clean it all and get it in and get it where it needs to go. It's kind of been my day so far. And they'll keep going this way for a little while until things sort of settle down and we kind of have all of our systems we want in place and processes. But the goal here is we're moving forward. Right. I'm not feeling like I'm running on a hamster wheel anymore and going nowhere. Do you?
No.
I feel like we're making progress. Good progress. We're seeing progress.
Yeah.
I might not be moving as fast, like as Aaron might want. I'm moving.
You're moving pretty quick. We had a lot of stuff to move around and reorganize and stuff like that to get the reselling section, more ready.
Yep. So we've been working through all that. And I mean, it's really, I really feel like this was the best move for us. It was. We had to do a change. We couldn't. It was so hard for us just to manage. And then when we were thinking of homeschool, I had no idea I was going to do it.
Mm-mm.
I had no idea I was going to switch from work to homeschool. I didn't have time to breathe.
Right.
And I didn't want to spend my evenings homeschooling. That was the other thing. I didn't want to add one more thing to my plate in the evenings. So for us, the homestead is a huge priority.
Yes.
That's why I came home. That's one of the reasons that I was chosen to come home. Because it's a huge priority. Isabel's a big priority. The main priority.
Food preservation.
So, and this year I'll be able to hit my goal of at least getting 60 jars of apples. The way she's eating applesauce, I probably need 100.
She's been going through those apples like crazy.
We've been eating the apples, but that's good. I want her to eat them. That's so good for her, and it's so easy for me to give to her for breakfast because she'll eat them. But it sets us up, and then it gives us more freedom.
Yeah, more freedom to do some other things, get some of these other side hustles going after we get the reselling one in a rhythm, because she's not going to be cleaning up and organizing every day. This is first couple of months, we figured.
Right. First couple of months, getting all of our systems in place, and then I create more free time during my day. That free time, we'll have like 3 to 4 hours during the day of free time when it's not, Isabel time.
Yep.
And then let's work something else into that free time.
Exactly.
Homestead tasks are early in the morning before she ever gets up. So when I prefer to do them anyways, because if I have to weed eat or anything like that, I'd rather get that done really, really early because it's just easier on me in the morning. And weeding as well because it's not as hot.
Yeah.
It's not as hot. I'd rather weed in the dark. I hate the heat whenever it gets that hot and there's no shade in the garden. And not only creates more freedom in terms of what we can do in the future, it also creates more freedom in the fact, like Aaron said, he's been less stressed these evenings.
I have. During the day with work, it's been just as stressful, but the never-ending stress till bedtime is, sort of slowed down some.
And we'll be able to actually go on vacations and do things and go to homesteading conferences that we couldn't go to before.
Yeah.
Go to yard selling, larger yard sales that we have looked at in the past, but couldn't make the plans to actually go to.
Right. Yeah. Of course, we were planning on going to a local big indoor yard sale this weekend, and of course, snow, ice, all the wonderful stuff.
We can't even get off the driveway. It's not happening. It's a solid sheet of ice at this point.
We're not gonna be able to get out to middle of next week.
So, what are you most excited about with this change?
I think it sets us up for our future goals easier, and we're not gonna have to work ourselves to death daily to get to those goals.
Yes. So you're most excited about the free time?
Well, that's pretty nice. I've already got side projects I'm thinking about and stuff.
He does always.
Yeah, like I've got 3 or 4 ideas going right now on some other things right now, and some of them I'm hoping in the future to get to you all as well. It's just, it hits me. I've got a little bit more time to think, brainstorm. What about you?
For me, it's, helping us reach our goals and actually being able to have the time to not rely on convenience things that we relied on before, to make my own breads again and all of those things, sourdough.
I'm looking forward to
That's
more
something
bread.
we have been wanting for a really long time, but it's been something that I just didn't have the bandwidth to add on to my list. I just didn't. a lot of people were like, well, you make the time. I had to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Had to sleep.
It was constant from 6:30, 7 o'clock till
Sometimes
10
earlier.
o'clock. Yeah.
Sometimes earlier, depending on the day, what needed to be done. It was just continuous. So I'm really excited that we're actually getting some momentum going, and we're seeing momentum. What are you most worried about with this change?
I'm most worried about. I would say, if something did happen and I lose my job, for example, for some reason, then, what if we don't have those income streams set up enough yet? That's my only fear, but,
Not really a fear.
not
We
really
have
a fear. We have, we've got other things to rely on.
We have an emergency fund.
Yeah.
I don't really have any other than the fear of I'm not pulling my weight. He when I told him that, he laughed at me. Like, because I would be the one to think that. He wouldn't. I would be the one to think that. And then I would push harder. And then I would push so hard that I would be down. That tends to be how this works. But no, I'm excited. Like, you noticed money wasn't a concern because our biggest concerns are taken care of.
Yeah.
At this point. I can't stress the power of being debt free. I can't stress how important it is to actually push towards this. This doomsday spending spree people are going on. Is that what is the is that what they call it?
I haven't heard that one, but okay.
Well, it's like where they just say, well, you're never going to get anywhere, so just spend as much as you want because you can't.
That's a good name for it. Let's submit it to the news stations or something.
Well, it's a thing on TikTok, I guess.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard it on another podcast. This idea that you can't get out of debt. People look at us, they're like, well, you only had a mortgage. No, we did. We had way more than a mortgage. We had vehicles.
We paid it all off over time. Student
loan, everything. We paid it all off.
Yeah.
By working hard, doing what we could, and throwing as much at it as we could.
Yep.
And we didn't always buckle down. We weren't always that way. We made mistakes. We bought new vehicles. We should never have done that. Well, we did bought them with loan.
Used.
Huh?
We got them used.
The van wasn't used.
Well, not the van.
The van wasn't used.
But the Hyundai was used. Like most of the time, that's something I'm very much about not buying a new vehicle. It's always the used one.
But we could have saved up and paid cash.
Yes, we could have.
We could have. And that's future goal.
Mm-hmm.
We will not be buying any vehicles. We will not be taking any loans out on any vehicles. We'll be taking out any loans at all if we can absolutely help it. It has to be dire circumstance. But
yeah.
You can do it. You can. You just have to gotta shift your focus. You really do. This is a mindset issue more than anything else. It really is. I only have $200 extra.
Are you sure?
Well,
sure you don't have more? Have you checked?
$200 is a lot of money.
It is.
And when I see those TikToks that say, like, Starbucks, and I don't care about the coffee. I could care less about your coffee. It's your Uber and DoorDash and Uber Eats. Those are the things I'm like, I see like $500 here that I could cut.
Mm-hmm.
Because I cook at home. I don't have DoorDash. And they're like, well, cut your coffee and you could save $100 a month. I'm thinking, cut the Uber Eats and DoorDash. You could save several $100 a month.
Yep.
Several hundred. So you could do it. You could make those changes. And like, well, that's deprivation. Once to twice a month eating out is okay. Eating out a couple times a week when you're trying to get debt free, that's choice.
Yeah.
That is a choice.
Yeah.
Mindset. It's all about your mindset. We're in a mindset of complacency and just, it's a mindset choice. You've made it. Now, you got to take a different road, different path. We want you on the debt-free path, and we can help you get there.
Anything else? Well, if you got any comments, questions, anything you want to hear in a future episode, make sure to send it over to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. Make sure to go over and check our link tree, which has links to all of our other content. On TikTok, we've been putting out more shorts. We'd really appreciate it if you follow us over there. And I will say, we are thinking about changing, when this when Rural Reliance and Farm Wife, Sexy Life gets published, to be different days. So stay tuned on that. We are thinking about moving it to Mondays and Thursdays, right?
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that. We'll put some communication out when we do that as well.
Yeah. And as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.